So Björn, very, very happy, obviously, to meet with you again, I will say, because I think we were together a few weeks ago in a different country.
Yes, happy to be meeting you again on the other side of the phone.
So before we get into the PLM part of the story, or virtual twin and everything, maybe it's really good to introduce a bit about yourself, who you are, what your passion. I know you had some unusual passion as well, and what is really moving you every morning, going to work, or what is your passions in general, personal and professional?
But I think you're sort of hitting the nail in terms of passion, because I feel that that's everything. When you're driving change, like I am at Grundfos right now, and I joined as head of PLM a year and a half ago, and we're in for a massive transformation journey. If you don't have the passion, very little will happen, and I think that's how I'm trying to lead. That's how I'm trying to rub off on the teams that I'm working with, and hopefully also that I was trying to rub that off quite a lot with you guys in the whole process of getting to this point of really committing to Dassault as our partner, not our vendor, not our supplier, but our partner in making this change happen. So, and for me personally, I'm coming from a background 20 plus years, always in the innovation space, always in some sort of hardware products. I've never been in pure play software, but it's always been in the sort of intersection between new technology, applying more digital to hardware, applying new business models, going to sort of meet unmet customer needs in new ways. And I think PLM is probably in its most exciting era ever, because there's so much happening now that finally enables to really be seamless end-to-end in the PLM space. So exciting time.
Exciting time. Maybe you can take a few words on your company, Grundfos, on how it resonates with society challenge in which you are living.
Yeah, Grundfos being one of the sort of global leaders in everything connected to water. Historically, it's been water pumps, but now it's more, how do we manage water? How do we ensure that it doesn't leak out of the system, so we waste fresh water? How do we bring water, give access to water for people who maybe not have had that in the past? How do we recycle and reuse water so we don't sort of pollute and sort of let stuff go out into nature, etc. So very purpose driven, very much evergreen right now, given that water is always important. Also very, very ambitious in terms of our agenda. Water in itself is, of course, it's cyclical. It's sort of rains down or is extracted from the soil. You use it, and then it goes back into that sort of closed loop. And I think that's also the beauty of working with PLM in that space, because what if we could get water to speak to us through our products? How could that look like? So the virtual twin.
The virtual twin.
But exactly, not only of what we do, not only of our products and our systems, but also how the water behaves, and adding additional safety measures in terms of sensors that can spot water quality or be more sort of on top of water utilization and usage, so you don't waste. And there's so many things we can do.
I agree. And it's very linked or tied to one of the concepts of this Gen 7 3D universe, which is the cycle of life, which actually I think is core to what water is bringing to society at large.
Definitely.
So I think Grundfos is a long time Dassault Systèmes client for some piece of it, or some piece of the business. You said that you get in the team only a few years ago. Actually, despite being a long-term Dassault Systèmes client, I think that Grundfos has been going through in-depth thinking process on evaluation to decide who will be their partners for the following decades as a main PLM platform. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, three plus decades of CATIA. So of course our relationship with Dassault has been very long. And then I know we have been looking into the PLM space sort of several times, and I think it was a year or so before I joined, there was yet another push and sort of got the ball really rolling that time. We did some internal changes. We did a lift and shift of the whole PLM organization. So that has been exposed much sort of more seniorly now in the organization. And then we really kicked it off by saying, well, what does the business need? What is it that what are the specific use cases that are relevant to us now that we might not be meeting well enough, but also what are the use cases of the future to stay on top and sustain a global leadership role with these new changes in terms of market circumstances, competitor actions, new requirements from customers, not least new requirements from regulatory bodies and so forth. So we really nailed that down into, I think it was 8 or 9 main use cases. We anchored them extremely well in the organization. So it was not just a central core team of people saying that this is what we need. We went out, we deep dove into, I think, 700, a mix of 700 pain points and or opportunities to really be able to consolidate and create a good picture of this is what we need. And then we tried to summarize that into a package that we went out to all 4 major competitors. It was a sort of a first round, and then there was a final round with the 2 guys left standing, and now here we are. Sort of pretty obvious that we went for Dassault, and it was really the whole mix of what your platform can provide, the link into our sort of, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of man hours we have invested in the CATIA space, and being able to leverage that even further now, also going to V6 on cloud. But it was also one of the main evaluation points was, who are you guys? What is your business vision? Who are you as people? Is this someone we want to really? It's sort of a marriage.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a kind of marriage.
Yeah, and that sort of partnership evaluation was extremely. It weighed extremely heavily towards the end to say, do we really now want to push the button and go ahead with this? And everything throughout this process has been extremely professionally handled by you guys, and we have invested massively. We've had sessions with 40, 50 people from Grundfos evaluating specific use cases. So it's taken time. I'm not a patient guy, so this has taken way too long for me. But I think we needed this time to land where we are today. So it's been a good journey. Now we have also an awesome project or whole program planned. We have very specific phases in that will take us through sort of this stepwise rollout of all the new stuff that we're bringing, and I can't wait until we have started to accelerate really to really step in and start challenging you guys also, because we really are not, we're not in this for you guys to just sort of give us what you have. We want to have a seat at the table to really challenge you guys and say, this is what we need to take the whole capability area of PLM to the next level. And I don't think you can't do that if you are a buyer-supplier relationship.
No,
you need to have a partnership.
I trust you can do that with us. Indeed, it was an informed decision.
It was
Looks
very much.
Looks like. And actually, for all people listening this, again, you did a fantastic presentation at our user event that we had in La Haye a few weeks ago in Netherlands. Encourage, it's available on YouTube for anybody to look at. Very powerful. At this event also we introduce this generation 7, which is not a new version. It's just a new generation of what can be done, combining what we have, the platforms with the experience, but of course new technologies, generative technologies, and we have seen a few very powerful examples this morning here. So what do you see as opportunities in this in those ideas behind Gen 7 for Grundfos?
But I think it relates perfectly. We've just launched our as Grundfos as a whole, our new business vision for 2040. It taps into sort of going towards full solutions on water, on climate solutions, on really enabling sort of improving the world, at least in the water area, for for people, and doing that without having intelligence-based sort of access to better decision making through better intelligence, not only facts and data, but converting that into intelligence. And I think that rhymes perfectly with the universe's ambition as well. And now, of course, we're starting. We need to get sort of the product in order. We need to get the extended product with the software and the digital in order. But then we're starting, and we've talked about this before. How do we take this into what is the water flow on a city scale? Not only in an individual house or a building, but on a city scale, or at a farm, taking up water from the aquifer. How's that spread? What is the situation of the aquifers, not only for one farm, but perhaps for a part of the country? To be able to act on that intelligence, then we can truly become an advisor also to our customers and say, but this is how you can use water sustainably, so you don't waste it or use too much or do anything else that won't be sustainable for your business in the end, because they are so extremely depending on water. So that's I think that there's so many things that we can sort of bring to life just in terms of mirroring reality with the virtual and making that virtual enable us to take better decisions.
One topic to come back on some more practical topics, many clients I know are thinking about I have ERP, I have PLM, where is the boundaries, how the two should live together. I think that also on Grundfos, this is a very practical question on topic.
It is, and it will continue to be for quite some time, given that we have not really utilized ENOVIA to the extent that it was intended to in the beginning. We have pushed a lot into SAP. But the good thing, though, is that it's actually very homogeneous. We have other places where it's not as homogeneous, a lot of sort of single systems are all over the place, but that installation is actually fairly homogeneous across our sites and our companies or divisions. So I think that's really a thing now that we're working on. Where do we draw that line? What stays and what is handled through the great things that can be done in an ERP system, and what do we pull out and really leverage on a platform like 3DX and the PLM setting. So that's I don't have a crystal clear answer for you just yet, but we are very aware of the question, if I put it like that.
I think it's a moving anyway. It's a moving frontier. Also depending on the maturity, on the level of flexibility, on agility you want to get into the business, on how much you want to bring back you want to front load, I would say.
But I actually always talk about 4 platforms. I talk about the ERP being one, the PLM being one, the CRM being one, and the MES being one. And I think it's in those 4 corner pillars, together with the surrounding ecosystem or surrounding portfolio of other sort of more niched applications, that sort of will bring it all to peak. Because there is no monolith single source solution for anything.
Everything.
And I've said that a lot recently also when we talk about this flexibility in terms of how we set our whole infrastructure and architecture up. There are probably 5-10 years from now coming razor sharp new applications by companies who have not been founded yet. And that requires us to stay on our toes. It requires us to be flexible. It requires us to work together in terms of how do we use these new solutions and these new technologies that are coming out, because no company is big enough to do it all. And you guys, you're big in the PLM space, but you also need to make selections in terms of where you specialize. So how do we mix that in order to really be able to utilize top of line across the board with a sizable part of that solution portfolio coming from you guys, but also complemented with some other sort of spicy, nice touches from elsewhere as well.
And actually, if I remember well your presentation, you were also mentioning that you had a lot of knowledge, artist data, who was who resided in all type of documents. I don't know what file management system or whatever. What is your intention there?
Well, that's one of the big things also culturally that we need to change. One, moving from document-based into model-based is of course, that was a fundamental use case that we had sort of as the basis for the entire transformation ambition that we have. But then it's just moving data is one thing, but getting people to be more disciplined around data. How do we encourage and actually make people feel that data, the value of data as an asset, and the value of having structured data as an asset, machine readable, connected in the nodes of a semantic data graph and things like that. We've not worked like that before. So the big challenge there is not to move data. The big challenge there is to enable people to reason around data in new ways so that it's reusable by someone else further down the life cycle or feeding back upwards in the life cycle so that we get this seamless digital thread. So that's a change. I would argue it's a change management challenge rather than just re-architecting sort of where it's stored and how it's stored.
On building the IP of the company, doing that. That's good. On maybe one point on, so there is data, there are people, you said, but people they are collaborating. On a lot actually of knowledge also reside in this principle for collaboration. Who is deciding what, on how it is decided, on what is the flow of things. Is it things also that you want to manage, instrument in your PLM environment?
I think governance is one of the key sort of benefits of having this type of information collected with a single source of truth, and avoiding that you have also avoiding some of the old school gut feeling decisions, but actually fueling decisions with data and intelligence, where it's applicable also through the digital twins or virtual twins that we will sort of have not only in the design work and the industrialization work, but also of course a lot from the installed base, where we will learn so much more on how products are actually used. I've been in a number of big industrial companies over the years, and very few have gotten as far as anyone would have liked in terms of actually feeding that data back. Automotive industry is one, aerospace is another, where that has been natural for quite some time, but a lot of other of the industrial segments, they're not really there yet. It's not that 80, 90, 100% of their installed base which is actually connected. So that's also something that will take time to build, because that means we need to get those connected products out there to start to be able to leverage the intelligence that can, or the data that flows back to us. But I think that's definitely something, the whole sign-off process of taking decisions based on real data, or merging market data, product data, customer data, learnings from different types of installations and whatnot. So of course that the decision making fueled by a good PLM knowledge or PLM intelligence is high up on my agenda.
So you went through all this step decision process. Now you have the roadmap set up on the key steps for the implementation defined, as you mentioned.
Yes.
So ready to go.
Ready. We are going. We are going. I wouldn't say that we have total liftoff yet, but the nose wheel is in the air at least. So I think that we're gaining speed every day, and working very closely with you guys, and sort of rallying the forces and the troops inside of Grundfos. So this will, and we've been longing for this for so long, to actually get out of the starting blocks and get running. So we've done an enormous amount of planning. I think that was the right thing to do, but now it's time for some action as well. So
yeah, some cloud should give you the agility and the speed to shorten some.
Well, and also there is I assume well-known challenge from your perspective also, but we are sort of really moving from one paradigm to another. We went from named licenses, perpetual licenses on-prem, to did I say named or did I say shared? Shared licenses, perpetual on-prem, to named licenses, subscription on cloud. And that birth was quite painful to go through those paradigms. It was really a square peg into a round hole type of situation. But I think that's also not 2025.
Yeah.
It was time for that as well. And it requires some more discipline on our side. We need to look into how do we use our licenses. Do people have the right level? Because before it's been easier when they could have had any type of license that was shared. But I think that's actually for the good, and we're seeing it across every service provider basically. So it's not a one-off that we're going through this. But I think we landed well.
Maybe just to conclude, any 1-2 key advice you want to give to the people listening to us?
I think you need to know your business. You need to know your challenges, and you're not just on the surface, not the generic PLM benefits of faster time to market or lower cost of poor quality. You really need to dig down and define what is it that you need, because that's the only way you can evaluate your future partner based on what they can offer. Does it fit? Is it a sort of real click in between us, or is it too much? Because every big PLM vendor out there has something that is fairly okay and can be made to sound better than okay. So lifting up the hood and looking at how does the machinery actually look like, I think is essential. And then, as I said, also, is this a company that fits with our culture? Are these guys that we want to be down in the trenches with? Because there will be bumps on the road. Do we feel that there's a true mutual trust? If you get those two things sign off, then I think you're on a good path. Then you have some other things that are, of course, essential. We spent a lot of time making sure that we have the executive sponsorship, that we had the operational buy-in to what we wanted to do, so everyone was actually on board on the journey. Because you cannot push this thing bottom up. You need to have top-down commitment and bottom-up engagement, so you can really get going.
Commitment and engagement. I think it's a good way to conclude this nice discussion. Thank you, Björn, for this for your time to come here, and let's work together to make it a success. Obviously,
absolutely, a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.